Good morning, freedom fighters, friends, neighbors, countrymen. It's another beautiful day here in what the cultural elites refer to as flyover country. Old Paratrooper has been just drinking some coffee and trying to get caught up on some stuff. Things have been really busy around here. But I did want to talk about a little trip a little old lady recently took to Asia. Some of you might know her as Nancy Pelosi. She has been the Speaker of the House for quite some time, and she's gotten a lot of press lately, or a large variety of antics. And her husband, Paul, who's known for stock tips and drinking and driving. So, stand by. I could not help but think, why is Nancy Pelosi going on a trip to Asia right now? Because she is the Speaker of the House. Foreign policy is not really her lane. When the founders put the government together, and they planned this thing called the Constitution, she's probably not that familiar with it. But foreign affairs are mainly the province of the executive branch. Nancy is technically one of the leaders of the legislative branch. And most of their focus should really be on spending the money that is given to the federal government for its budget. But as we know, Nancy's not really a budget kind of gal. Yeah, I doubt if she could balance her own checkbook. But when you have unlimited funds, it's really easy to get in the habit of spending money. So, anyway, Nancy goes on this trip to Asia, courtesy of the taxpayer money. And honestly, she represents a very rich district in San Francisco, although there is a large homeless population and drug problems and people pooping on streets. But how did this trip to Asia benefit her constituents? Probably didn't benefit them very much at all. Now, there were a lot of pundits on both the left and the right that were concerned that by Nancy Pelosi going to Asia, specifically Taiwan, she would basically be kind of poking the dragon right there, Red China, and that it might start World War III. It was never going to start World War III. It obviously upset the Red Chinese, but at the same time, are they going to go to war over a drunken politician going to what they consider to be a renegade province? Probably not. But they definitely rattled their sabers. They upped their military exercises. I believe they shot some missiles. And, of course, the United States, we had to be there as well. I mean, there was a possibility that World War III might start accidentally. Anytime you have large numbers of armed men with lots of weapons walking around within the vicinity of each other, there is a possibility. But it wasn't going to start World War III. But it definitely made our country look weak. Because, as we strongly suspect, President Biden is deeply in debt or compromised by the Chinese, the Red Chinese specifically. I'm sure his son, Hunter Biden, has done deals of Lord knows how much money, which we're still waiting to find that out. So, where are we? So, Joe didn't really speak up in defense of Nancy going to Taiwan, and it just really looked weak, although we did move some naval forces in the area because, let's face it, like Nancy or not, she is the Speaker of the House. She is a U.S. Congressman. And you can't have foreign countries threatening to shoot down their planes. It's just bad form and cannot be tolerated, no matter who's in the plane. So anyway, and besides, once Red China started complaining about her going, she had to go. I mean, it was a face-saving move. She had to go to China. The actual trip to Asia itself did not really pay off or bring any benefit. If anything, it kind of made us look a little bit weaker. A good example, the South Korean president, he was on vacation when she did her stop in Korea, and he didn't even come off vacation to talk to her. He did not speak to her at all. And normally, when a high-ranking U.S. official, like a Secretary of State or Speaker of the House, for example, arrives in your country, usually the president, premier, or somebody will go and talk to them. Usually someone of high rank. That did not happen in South Korea. Of course, right now, South Korea's number one trading partner is Red China. So either A, he did not want to talk to her because he knows he's not going to get anything out of it, or his country's not going to get anything out, or B, he didn't want to anger the Red Chinese. So you be the judge. But still, why did she go? Just get away from her drunken husband, Paul? I mean, he is in a bit of trouble. So, but I don't think it was to get away from her drunken husband, Paul, and his many issues. Was it one last trip at taxpayer expense by a vain, money-grubbing politician who has always sought the limelight? Maybe trying to stay relevant? Very possible. Or maybe she went to go check up on investments. I mean, her old hubby, Paul, despite the fact that he's a drunk and a pill pusher and tried to bribe his way out of a DWI in California, he's made some wise investments over the years, often based on legislation and bills that are before Congress that he knows are going to get passed. And maybe Red China and Taiwan are very heavy into electronics. As a matter of fact, Taiwan produces 90% of the computer chips made in the world. Maybe she went to go check up on her investments. I mean, that's a legitimate excuse. I really don't think you should use the Air Force, United States Air Force, as your taxi, but I wouldn't put it past her, since she has been noted notoriously for using government assets for personal gain. Yeah, America, we deserve much better political leaders than this drunken old hag and her corrupt family. I mean, she's got to go, along with a whole bunch of them. So, November's coming up. Let's start getting rid of these. Let's start flushing these turds back down the toilet. In the meantime, friends, neighbors, countrymen, I want you to continue to train, watch your 6 o'clock, and God bless America.